to Two Roads Crossing, a podcast production of the Christian Veterinary Mission. Do you wonder how your faith fits together with your profession? Well, join us as we explore how to live well at the intersection of two roads crossing.
Well, hello and welcome. My name is Barry Schwenk. I am your host for Two Roads Crossing, a podcast production of the Christian Veterinary Mission, where we explore the intersection of faith and vocation, specifically veterinary medicine. Today, I am joined by Doctors Laurie and John Day, who, after 29 years of owning and practicing in a dairy-exclusive practice in Idaho, you just picked up and moved to Mongolia. 29 years. Decided to go to Mongolia to serve the Lord, there. And you are currently, this is your home on your first furlough. Is that where we are right now?
That's correct.
And at the time of this recording, you're getting ready to head back pretty quick.
Just a few days.
And it's always we were talking just a little bit before this. It's always funny about, when folks think about furlough, they think, oh, it's like a vacation, and yet it's kind of like a working vacation. Really, it just flies by. Are you all exhausted? Are you going to sleep on the plane? Is that how this is going to work?
That should hopefully help the jet lag.
That's right. Well, this is at the end of your first term. This is a great time. I wanted to visit with you all about the reality of what life as veterinary missionaries is actually like. Just to kind of give our listeners a little bit of a glimpse. Certainly, there are probably some highs and some lows. But let me start by asking this. You'd been in private practice for 29 years. You're in Mongolia. Was there a moment where either one of you just paused and looked at the other and said, "Why are we here?" Or was it something that when you got there that God just confirmed over and over for you that you were in the right place?
I think more of our confirmation came that we were actually delayed a year in getting there because of COVID. We were supposed to go in September of 2020. And everything was just moving. And about a month before our date to leave, the tickets got canceled finally. And we just like that. But we ended up through, again, a bunch of circumstances that we could not have asked for or orchestrated ourselves, ended up moving to Colorado. And we were interacting with a Mongolian faith community in Denver, and had a Mongolian who helped us for 8 months with language.
Oh, wow.
12, 13 hours a week. And then after that, we then were able to find a college course in Mongolian that we did online for another 2 months. Over the summer, we got like a year of college Mongolian in 8 weeks, which was a bit of a bit like drinking from a fire hose for us old people. But anyway, so it felt like the different things that came about to get us to there, and then to Mongolia, and with our farm and selling, and there just was a whole bunch of things. I can't elaborate all of them, that we just knew that God was in that. So when we got there, and I hit a really rough patch last spring. But it wasn't, am I supposed to be here? It was, what am I supposed to be doing here? It really, I don't think either of us really have ever doubted that we're where we are, where we're supposed to be or not. But sometimes it's like, maybe I don't feel like I'm being useful. And again, that's probably an American thing, that we feel like we have to be doing or accomplishing or making something. And so that was, for me, that was more the issue, but not are we where we're supposed to be?
Well, let me back up then, because that brings up so many questions in my mind. Let's start with this then. So John, when when you all were headed to Mongolia, what was the primary task? What was the expectation? We are going to Mongolia to do blank. What was that?
We were going to be working with the vets at Mongolia VetNet to be developing a continuing education program to be able to help the veterinarians there in Mongolia be able to provide services for the newly developed dairy industry. There was machine milk dairies. They've been milking cows, milking anything with a hanger downer for centuries, but they've actually were putting in some commercial style dairies with machine milk and bringing the feed to the cows rather than grazing and that type of thing. And they were looking for some expertise from folks like Laurie and I, who had spent 29 years, not 30, 29 years in and that type of a practice, doing that type of work. And so getting on over there, we were thinking this was an area that they were really excited about getting involved in and getting going on. But we got over there, and the Mongolians are extremely busy with lots and lots of different ministries. And so the dairy thing was urgent, but it wasn't as important as we were thinking they were ready. So they weren't ready quite for us to dive in.
The other way around, important but not urgent.
Yeah, there we go.
There you go.
Yeah, sorry, thanks.
Stop that, flip it, reverse it. We got it. Okay. You married up, John. You married up.
You know I did. Doesn't take very long to figure that out, does it?
So really, you had this idea that you were going to step into this thing that was just graciously or waiting on your arrival, and then when you got there, it's going to explode, and it's just going to be a mile a minute. And then what was the actual reality then?
The reality was that we were several months before we got a chance to go and actually spend some time on the dairies, or started to work on the dairies. We were we were given tasks, good tasks. I mean, God had plans for us. I was given the opportunity to do lots of Bible studies and do some discipleship. Laurie was teaching English and was working in those areas. That wasn't, we're thinking vet work, and God was telling us, no, I have other plans for you right now. But in that, then you're kind of going, well, why all this experience that you've given us over all these years, now that they seem to be pushed into the background? And when do we get to start to do the dairy stuff? There's the other aspect of a very Western thought process of, we're missing opportunity. Here's these dairies. They're hungry for information. We've got that information. We need to get out there. We need to be getting it out there. And God's pulling on the reins and saying, whoa, slow down there. I've got a plan. It's my timing. I know what I'm doing. And you just need to sit back and cool your jets for a little bit.
Yeah. And Laurie, how long was this first term? How long were you?
We've been over there a year and a half. So, yeah, we've been on contracts since April of 2020.
Okay.
Thinking that we were going to get there in September of 2020, and then we, like I said, we had a year COVID delay. So we've actually been in country for a year and a half before this home assignment. So
then that makes an awful lot of sense, because when you said that you weren't quite sure where you fit in and where you're contributing, because that it seems like that initial plan / idea got changed rather rapidly. And I would talk with Dr. Karen Stauffer a while back on this podcast, talking about guilt, innocence worldviews, an approach to the gospel, and how we tend to center on what we do, and what we do is kind of how we identify ourselves. And then you go to a culture that's more honor shame, which is not necessarily what you do, but who you are and how you're connected, and that can really rock your world. So how was that year and a half then? How did you navigate that space where you weren't able to do what you thought you were really called to do?
Well, I said for the most part, I think John probably more than me. I mean, we're kept busy with the things that we were doing. So we were doing some training with the interns and doing some student ministry that first fall. So we kind of jumped right into those things. And in fact, we didn't have time to start language study until almost Christmas. So we got there early September, and we didn't start language till Christmas time. Then we did about 4 months of language, about 12 hours a week. And then we did a countryside trip for the bulk of the month of May. Went out with a team. So that kind of didn't, actually, we haven't done any language since then. That was May of, or yeah, end of April 2022. Yeah. So, so it's just been kind of, yeah, different things. Yeah, it's been different. And then, like I said, just trying to, he's like, okay, we're supposed to go. Let's, we need to be pushing to do this. And I'm like, okay, let's be culturally sensitive. No, you're not in charge here. It's their organization. So I probably hold back too much and waiting to be asked to do. So it's just kind of trying to figure that dynamic. How much do you wait to be asked to do something? How much do you push to do it? If you see a need, see a need, fill a need. Well, kind of, but in that context, again, it gives our see a need is kind of, like he said,
right.
Go at it, get it. We're missing opportunities here. Let's go. And again, that whole honor shame culture, and just in general Asia culture, the relationships are more important, and taking that time to do those things. And just that slowing down a little bit on that. And we've recognized pretty much from the get-go that we knew that the way that we do things here, and in terms of dairy and medicine and whatnot, was not going to directly translate. That's going to be, obviously, since it's the American way, it's going to be the best one anywhere, right? No, we knew that was not true. So we've been from the beginning wanting to see, okay, what do they have? What is going to be best practices for that industry in their context and their, everything that's going on there, what they have available and everything, and then being able to develop training materials and from that point. And so, but we've kind of just felt like we haven't really had a chance to get out there and spend that much time on the dairies to figure out what those things are. So that was kind of a bit of, I know, more of a frustration probably for him, but yeah, for both of us, really. So
well, and we tend to be as veterinary professionals, we are, again, task oriented. We're kind of we jump in there and do those things. I think that for us in Ethiopia, one of the biggest blessings we ever had was the fact that we did not have the right language going to where we were working, and it forced us to sit back and wait, because we couldn't communicate. We couldn't do anything. And the longer that we sat back and waited, and as we were learning, it's that cultural connection and being able to understand and perceive the right way and the wrong way of doing things. That's an invaluable asset that sometimes God allows for us to patiently wait through, which is not always the most enjoyable thing. So was that, John had mentioned the last time that we talked that having that vet box removed from the truck really challenged his identity. Was that kind of a similar thing that was happening then, as you all were trying to figure out where your place was, like still struggling with who you really are as veterinary missionaries? Was that something that you think that you're navigating through, or were you able to kind of figure out your place pretty quick?
Well, I guess I'll just back a little bit. In trying to get ready to go, it felt, personally, I mean, it was just a lot of pruning. There was a lot of pruning going on, not just, things and, house and those types of stuff. I mean, that, the veterinarian, okay, that was gone. Okay. I'm not the I'm not the milk quality lady anymore. Okay. Then I had to let my guide dog puppy raising group. Okay. I'm not the guide dog. I'm not the lady that goes in the store with the dog all the time, and just, I'm not the church bookkeeper anymore, and just all those things. And it just felt like I was pruned down to this little bitty stump, and then it's like, what's left? There's no me left. I don't, maybe that's a good thing. But trying to navigate that of, recognizing that was, those were God things, and giving up things you love for things you love more, and that's something better. But you're kind of waiting, okay, well, where's the better thing, God? Just kind of waiting for something to come out. And but just having that tension, and then just knowing that I need to learn to trust, and it's going to be His timing, and He will provide what I need when I need it, and it's not those identities or those things anymore. But that's been a real tension and a challenge, I think, for me.
From my standpoint, getting over there was and with the expectation that we'd be diving in and doing dairy stuff, and being able to jump in vet wise was a little bit, we had been warned that it wasn't going to be like we thought when we went through mission training and such, and the folks at CVM had said that, and we'd heard it a number of different times. God giving me the opportunity to teach Bible studies and doing some devotions and discipleship that way, that was an area that I really enjoyed doing, and so it was a nice pause to be able to be useful that way, and be appreciated, I guess, for some of the things that that I was able to bring on up, and so that helped out a lot. And then into the starting in the winter, we were started doing some CE with just the CE vets, the vets that train the veterinarians to do CE that are within Mongolia VetNet. And that whetted the appetite for people who were really hungry to hear about things that they could be doing with the dairies and that type of thing. And so that was really fun and exciting, but it also helped because it was a slow enough start that we'd be teaching, I'd be teaching, or Laurie would be teaching, and we'd hit a brick wall, and they just weren't understanding the concept and realizing, okay, this didn't work this way. So we can go back and revisit this topic again, trying to explain it in a different way that might make more sense culturally. And so doing that, as we do that, then when we do get a chance to do some symposiums and things for rural veterinarians who and doing the CE, then we've honed some of those topics a little bit, and are using them to are teaching them in a way that is more understandable for the culture and understandable for their for where they are and what the industry that they're working with. And so bringing in some participatory concepts in a little bit along those ways as best we can, and those types of things as well. And so it's been neat process of learning and being able to laugh at the cultural thing again of, okay, I'm ready to do this lesson. Not today.
Not today.
Okay, next week. So.
Well, and it's hard too, because after all that build up to get to the field, and you all had that extended build up because of COVID, there's all this anticipation, and then it's like, hurry up and wait, and it's continually hurry up and wait, and you get to this place, but by the time that God has taken His time and pruned you all the way back, it's just going to allow you to blossom and flourish all the more. And it sounds like there's some real potential there that's right around the corner. Are there things now, as you're getting ready to go back, Laurie, what are the positives from this last year and a half that have you excited about going back, and what are the things that you're looking forward to most about getting back to Mongolia?
Looking forward most to just getting back and working with our Mongolian teammates. Just yeah, my desk buddy, my my cultural informant that works right across the desk from me. Yeah, just kind of missing her input on some things and fun interactions and stuff. And then we have two other young female vets in our single vets in our department that are really interested in dairy, and we're going to get an opportunity later this year to accompany them on a kind of an internship type of a program in Australia. There's a practice down there that's offered to take them, and so but they needed somebody to come and help get them to from point A to point B and do some logistics and those types of things, as well as I think we're going to be translating Mongolian English into Australian English and vice versa.
Wow.
Yeah. Kind of each of them's not quite understanding the other accent. So it's like, I can do something and I can interpret.
It's all English and yet I'm still interpreting.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. I love it.
So that'll be fun and getting to work with them and whatnot. Yeah, so I guess I'm kind of looking forward to that, and our foreign teammates as well, our friends that we've made there, and yeah.
You know what's funny? So what's funny is when we first started this conversation, talking about some of the frustrations about not being able to do the things that you were ready and prepared to do. And yet when we talk about the things you're most looking forward to, you shifted from task oriented to people oriented. And so maybe God was doing something pretty big over that last year and a half. That's a good thing. It's a good place to be, to have people like that that you'll look forward to translating for in English. That's so good. And how do you think, John, when you look forward to this next term? Now, are you all planning on going back for, is it a year? Is it a year and a half? Is it 2 years? What's the tentative plan at the moment?
We're looking at 2 years. Signed a contract with CVM for a 2-year stint this time. We'll look at coming back for a couple of weeks, halfway through, be able to visit our kids and grandchild and to see Laurie's mom. But during one of the slower periods of time, we'll come and do that and do a short-term mission here in the U.S., so to speak. So we're looking at a 2-year plan.
Okay.
And then what was your question?
No, that was the question.
Okay.
I was curious about how long you're going to be, because then the next question is, so as you're going back, what were the big takeaways from this first term that excite you about going into the second term?
Actually right along the lines of what you were saying with regards to the going and working with the people, getting the chance to work with them, pour into them, be able to learn from them, as well as to be able to teach them what we know, and working together that way. Just the excitement of working with people who are really excited to be able to ultimately, I mean, we've talked about doing, but everything that we're doing is opportunities to be able to share the good news, and being able to build those relationships that give us the opportunity to speak into people's lives. And so the opportunities that we had this last year, when those came on up from what we were doing, whether it be doing short-term stuff or doing dairy symposium stuff, and talking to rural veterinarians and being able to share our faith, why we came to Mongolia in the first place, or going out with a team into the countryside and being a draw. Oh, here's some foreigners who are here, and they're here to talk about livestock, and come and see what they have to say, and bringing them on in, and then giving them an opportunity then to learn things, but then also building those relationships so that they can start to understand where our hope comes from, and see that, and create a genuine curiosity on their part to start to know more about it. And so those types of things are exciting to be able to see what God has in mind for us as far as when we return and move forward from here.
There have been various times in my life where I've prayed. I've just asked God to give me a heart for people like He has a heart for people.
Dangerous prayer.
Yeah, and I think it's impossible, because if we had the same heart that He has, like, our hearts would just explode. There's no way you can comprehend it.
Yeah.
And yet what I found at various points in time in my life, and what I'm hearing as you both are talking, is that He's given you a glimpse and a portion of His heart, which is specific for His Mongolian children. And it's that kind of heart that that I hear as you're talking, that desire to just serve, and to be frustrated when you can't serve the way that you think you need to serve. And yet the faces that come to your mind when you pray, the people that you can't wait to get back to, the opportunities you can't wait to have with them. I think God has graciously given you a piece of His heart for His children. And that's a beautiful thing. And I really appreciate hearing that from both of you. I wish I had I'm trying to convince CVM that we need to have a 4-hour podcast episode, because I would love to talk with you. But if we do that, you'd never get back to Mongolia, and that's where you belong right now. So I absolutely appreciate beyond words your willingness to take some time, your limited time here in the U.S., to share with us. I can't wait to talk to you, not during your short break, but maybe your next long break in a couple of years. Let's visit again and talk about how God walked you through more frustrations your second term, and how you see those flowers starting to come up where He had pruned you previously. I can't wait to hear those things. And hopefully for people that are listening, if you think that God has taken you or called you to a place, and yet you're facing some frustrations, and things aren't necessarily going the way that you want them to go, as Laurie said, it may be that you are just in a season of being pruned, and God is preparing you. So don't lose heart, don't lose hope. As John said, our hope is founded in one place and one place alone. And hopefully, as you come to that place where you come to understand His true calling on your life, and the way that He desires to work in you and through you, then hopefully together we will learn how to live well at this intersection of two roads crossing.
Thank you for listening to Two Roads Crossing, a podcast production of the Christian Veterinary Mission. If you were blessed by this content, like and subscribe so that you are alerted when new content is released. If you would like more information about CVM, or if you have questions, comments, or topical suggestions, you can find us online at www.cvm.org. Or you can contact us by emailing podcast@cvm.org. God has a plan for the nations, and that plan includes you. We pray that CVM has encouraged you to live out your calling with confidence and competence. So, until next time, may the voice of the shepherd ring loud and clear as you follow him in faith to the intersection of two roads crossing.